What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Thrive Forever Fit Show. This week, we have got an Ashley update show for you. Ashley's 35 pounds down on her 60-pound weight loss quest. She's absolutely crushing it, doing really amazing. Today, we're going to get caught up with her, see how everything's going from her struggles to her successes. And we're going to dive a little deeper today and talk about how she actually got started in the process. And it was with my first book, The Overweight Mind. So we're going to talk a little bit about how the overweight mind catapulted her into the mindset, perfect segue, right? Into the mindset of wanting to make a significant change in her life. And lucky for you guys, if you're listening today, today's Monday, March the 29th, I'm actually doing a free training in the Wellness Lab Launchpad on the overweight mind. It doesn't matter if you've read it 4 years ago, you're reading it right now, or you've never read it at all. I'm going to give you an updated version of my 4 strategies that have helped thousands of my clients lose thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds, guys. This is a proven formula, and you're going to get Overweight Mind 2.0. All you got to do is be a member of the Wellness Lab Launchpad. It's a free Facebook group. Go to thriveforeverfit.com. There's a giant box on the front page that says join the Wellness Lab. Click that button and you'll be let right in. Today at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we start our first training. It's going to be a week-long process for us. It's all free. It's all amazing. And I promise you, it will all be life-changing for you. So get your butt over there. If you can't be there at 2:30, don't worry about it. We're going to record every training. It's going to be available in the announcements section of the Wellness Lab Launchpad. So you can watch that at your leisure. But make sure you're watching them daily, because every day the momentum is going to stack upon each other, and it's just going to get better and better and better. And we're going to culminate on Friday and Saturday, actually, with a couple of success stories, a couple of success interviews. Guys, it's going to be awesome. Stay tuned. Listen to Ashley's interview. We're going to inspire you. We're going to disrupt you. We're going to help you transform. Let's just do it. Here we go. Here comes Ash. Ashley, what's up?
Not much.
I feel like you don't need an introduction anymore. You're you're almost like a co-host.
Yes, I'll take it.
So
for this time of my life.
we'll try to be a little formal. If you don't know, guys, this is Ashley. Ashley, everybody. If you're a first time listener, Ashley and I set this, I don't even know what you'd call it, a goal, a quest, a thing, where she's going to lose 60 pounds in 6 months. We are 35 pounds down. We've got 2 months left to go. And you said something in a message to me. You said, I'm not going to hit my goal, but, so finish that statement for me.
Well, I think this last month I came to terms with the fact that my body isn't necessarily losing at the rate to hit 60 pounds, but I also quit caring because the end of the 6 months is not my finish line. It's just the end of the 6 months. So I'm not discouraged. I know I'm going to get there and beyond. So that was a good epiphany for me this month.
Such a gorgeous point. And I love the fact that you got to that place, because all along, I'll be honest, I never really cared if you hit the 60 pounds in 6 months. Like, I think things like that are cute and they're fun. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like, gives you like a target. But the main thing, the cool thing, is the growth opportunity into the fact of saying, because what would the average person says this, well, if I'm not going to hit it, then fuck it, not going to do it. Right. And so that's where the average brain is at. But if you can shift that to say, you know what, I might not hit that 60 and 6, but look what I've already done. And look what else I'm going to do. And you went on to say, you're going to lose over 100 pounds, through the course of your journey, which, I mean, let's be honest, is way cooler than 60 pounds in 6 months. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. In full transparency, this just happened, this shift in my mind. I was kind of irritated at you for a couple months, and why do you give me this goal I can't really make? And I'm stubborn and I'm competitive, but it's just organically it happened. So I just feel really at peace with my journey.
Well, and that's the magic of, or that's what a coach or a mentor or whatever you want to call me, that's my responsibility, is to put you in positions, to put you in places, to apply enough positive force to your life that you start to see things differently. Like, it doesn't help you if I tell you, well, Ashley, this is how you should feel. This is how you're gonna feel. Like, you're like, whatever, joker. Like, that doesn't have any power.
Yeah.
And so for you to come to this on your own, like that's the magic. And that's when, as a coach, that's when I get the happiest, because I've seen I've seen what I was hoping the unfolding would be for even before we started. And I think we're finally, after 4 months, which sounds crazy, right? 4 months of just this, but then another year of, before that, of us walking through this process to even get to where we are today. So I think the beauty in that is, you said full transparency, I just got here. Who gives a shit? Like, it doesn't matter when doesn't matter when you get there. It's the fact that you got there, because now the momentum that you can create is going to be so much more powerful than those old school, like, I'm going to lose this amount of weight for this wedding, or I'm going to lose this amount of weight for this trip, or I'm going to lose this amount. You know what I mean? Like, that shit just doesn't work, man. Like, it hasn't worked forever. And thank God that you're over that, so you don't have to even think about that working. Now, let's talk about some metrics. So 21 inches down, 8 pounds down this month, 35 pounds down in 4 months. Like, all of these are just amazing numbers. Which one do you care about the most?
I had a crazy change in body comp this month, to the point where I barely care about the scale anymore, just because I'm so excited about the changes my body has seen. But I've also put the scale away this month.
Say that again, because you were a freak show. Like, every day we were talking about the scale.
Yes.
You what? You don't care about this?
Yeah, for the people in the back. Yeah, I put the scale away. I pull it out on Monday and I put it back.
What?
So I know, but it's been so freeing, and that's my word of the year is freedom. It's been so freeing, but seeing my body change, because like I've always put in a lot of work, like in the gym and on my Peloton, but like seeing my body actually respond because I'm being consistent has been freaking amazing. So I had to go buy some jeans 2 sizes down, and then I purged my closet yesterday, and I'm just leaving zero space for plan B. I even tossed like really nice jeans that were like loose, but they still fit. I'm like, nope, I'd rather be in like tighter, smaller jeans, because I don't want to leave any room for plan B. So there's just, I would say, you asked me originally what was my favorite, for sure the inches, like the body comp.
You know what you just said there is so amazing. We talk about this all the time in the programs. Like, if you have a plan B, then your plan A is going to fail. And it's just human nature, guys. So if you're listening to this, and I don't care what it is, if it's a money, job, relationship, weight loss, fit, whatever it is, if you have a plan B, you will naturally gravitate toward that plan B. It's just human nature. We always go to that fail safe. And so it's the old adage of, if you want to take the island, you've got to burn the boats behind you, because then you have no choice. It's either take the island or drown, and humans are going to take the island. So that's what Ashley's talking about when she's talking about the plan B, which is uber powerful and amazing. And that's why you are, having all this massive success, which is really awesome. I love it when you said you got rid of pants that almost fit, but no, you're not even going to have those available or around. That's so powerful, because so many of us, we keep you can't say the F word anymore, because I think it's shaming or whatever. I don't want to get canceled. I'm going to say it. Fuck it. You can't, fat shaming, right? Like all that kind of stuff like that. Like, if you don't want to, we always keep those, like our fat pants or our all those types of things. Like, me included, like I used to have things whenever I was on my journey of like, well, these are kind of like my stretchy pants, or my Thanksgiving pants, or my whatever pants. So hats off to you for not doing that, right? For burning the boat.
Yeah, it was hard, because they had gotten me through a lot, because what I did is I didn't buy, well, first of all, I started busting out of my current size. And so I wasn't truly that size. I was bigger. So you had asked me after like a month, like, are your clothes falling off? No, they weren't. I was actually finally truly that size. So those particular pants had been with me like way too long. So it was uncomfortable yet freeing altogether. But I love it. And there's several people on our group that have been purging their closets. And I just think that energy that I'm getting from them, it just feels so freeing. And I highly recommend.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a necessary part of the process, because it's subconsciously, you're just fortifying the fact that there is no plan B. Like, you're not going to go back to, like, it's easy to say, right? Like, oh, I don't have a plan B, like blah, blah, blah. But then if I come to your house and you got a whole section in your closet, it's like, 3 sizes too big. Like, what's that? Like, why do you keep in that,
Yeah.
And then people will always say, well, these are really nice, or these are, well,
Mm-hmm.
who cares if it's really nice? It doesn't fit you. Like, get
Yeah.
rid of it and then move on to the next, get yourself some really nice stuff that actually fits. Let's talk about the 100 pounds. Like, is that a thing? Like, because you put that in the note to me today, like, what's that about?
So I lost weight with you before we started this little
Mm-hmm.
adventure. So
Right.
like I'm about to hit 50 pounds. I think I will this week, which is super exciting. So I have like my public weight loss, and then I have like my secret weight loss that I get excited
Right.
about. And so I want to hit 100 pounds down from when I started with you.
Mm-hmm.
And based on my calculations, I should be able to hit that this year. So to
100%.
me, that's my new big goal, even though obviously I'm loving this adventure too. But,
Yeah. You're going to incrementally chip away at that. And so
mhm,
and so you have a number that when you hit that number, that's going to be the 100 pound
I
thing.
do. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's super exciting. And you know
If,
what? Like,
yeah.
how the group is. Like, we have people that, I wouldn't say we have people that hit the 100 pound down all the time, but like, we have people in our group, and consistently we have people that get to that number, which is not.
It's a lot, Jay. It really is. Cause you think of like
Yeah.
those 100 pound down, it's always like People Magazine once a year. And, you read through it and you're like, oh, they did this diet, they did that.
Yeah.
Our group is full of people that have just done it,
I know.
not white knuckling, but
I
putting in
know.
like the work. It like blows my mind. And I told you, I don't remember earlier this month or end of last month, like I have little periods of anxiety about maintenance
Mhm.
because I've never been to maintenance. I've always been like, I think of like running and like touching my weight and then running back to being heavy. Like that's how I feel like my dieting life has been.
Right.
And so I was like, but there's no one that ever gets there and maintains it. And you like start naming off these people. And I talked to someone else in the group and she named off more people. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, they're all right here. So I'm obviously in really good company. I'm excited.
Well,
And yeah.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I was going to say caveat, I've never really been that weight and
Yeah.
maintained it. So if it ends up I get to 80-pound weight loss and I love my body and I'm happy, I'm uncomfortable, I will stay there. So I
Yeah.
just want to do that little asterisk that I might not go to 100 depending on how things shake out.
The 100 is inconsequential, right? Like, it's
Yeah.
where we get to, whether it's 75 pounds or 100 pounds or 50 pounds or 20
Mm-hmm.
pounds for some people, is the equivalent to another person losing 100. So guys, don't get it twisted and think, well, I don't have 100 pounds to lose. Well, who cares? Whatever you have to lose is your magic number. If you have 200 pounds to lose, then that's your magic number. But don't get fixated on the number in and of itself. And I want to touch on something you talked about, maintenance. Like, we've been taught that, like, it's the dieter's mentality. I'll do this until I get to where I want to go, and then what do I do, right? Well,
Yeah.
if you conceptually think about it, it's like, maintenance is like, your body's never going to go past a certain level, right? If you're being healthy, right? And we're not about deprivation or starvation or anything like that. So it's going to be easy to maintain, but it's really about building that lifestyle so that you don't have to worry about going back. The people that usually go back to gaining the weight are the ones that stop living the lifestyle. They go back to that lifestyle of, the crash diets, the binging, the purging, the mentality that we've all grown up with for the last, 20, 30, 40 years. It's just archaic. It doesn't work anymore. And so I'm glad that you and a bunch of our people in our team and our group are seeing that, and it's not even hard. It's actually fun.
No, I went on vacation for a week this
Yeah,
month. Yeah, I
totally.
kind of forgot about that. And seeing like when I post, or anyone posts like fun little indulgences they've had and stuff, we all like celebrate them. We're like, awesome, that
Yeah,
looks delicious. It's just literally the weirdest, best group ever because it's so opposite
yeah,
normal, but it works so good. And on vacation, I didn't eat 100% perfect where my goals are, but I came back, I think I had like a 4 or 5 pound weight loss.
yeah.
It's just your body is trusting you once you continue to keep all those promises. And if you have an indulgence here or there, they're like, sweet, that's awesome. And
Totally.
then your body just goes right back, which I've never experienced
Yeah.
until this last year.
Well, and that's what it really is about. It's like, everybody's like, well, the number one thing I get is somebody comes to me and they're like, hey, Jay, I want to start working with you, but I'm going to go on vacation first. Or Jay, I'm going to start working with you, but I've got this trip in 2 months. So I'm going to why would you wait 2 months to start living? Because the honesty is this: we want you to go on vacation while you're living the lifestyle, while you're in the program. And when you go on vacation, do I expect you to eat like you are if you're not on vacation. Well, hell no. I don't eat like you know what I mean? The same when I'm on vacation as opposed to when I'm not. Because it's always that thing of like when you're somewhere that you're not going to be tomorrow, or let's say you go somewhere for 7 days, right? And it's like they're known for a certain like cuisine or delicacy or thing, whatever it is, like that's when you should be indulging. And that's when you should be having the things that you really, really want within the constraints of this is I'm here, I'm going to enjoy it, right? I'm not going to deprive myself and then not do it, because what'll happen is you won't have that enjoyment, and then you'll go back to your regular life and you'll end up in a McDonald's drive-through.
Yeah, and I want to speak to that because you've taught me a couple of really huge things that I think people need to hear. You know, first of all, like a lot of people, they like quote unquote slip off track, or they have an indulgence, and it spirals to like days of binging, which for sure was me. I've done it within the 6 months, you know, that we've been working on this, but that piece has kind of floated away too. And then the second thing, which I think is so powerful, but it's like sort of simple, which I just think encompasses a lot of things you teach me, is like, don't like have the best for yourself, you know, like don't go have like this random cookie, you know, have the best. And like putting it through that filter, even on vacation, I'm like, you know, mac and cheese sounded good after a day on the mountain. And I'm, you know, thinking about shoveling a couple spoons back of my kids' mac and cheese. And I'm like, oh, hell no, that's gross, you know?
Right.
And I think that's like simple, but amazing. Like you can apply that at any point. So
I agree. And I honestly, I live by that, guys. I mean, people say, oh, he just says that. Like, I live the same way. Like, probably one of my, if somebody said, Jay, you could have any dessert you wanted, I'd probably pick a chocolate chip cookie, but it can't just be a boring ass basic chocolate chip
yeah,
cookie. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm not in that. It's not going to do anything for me. But if I see that chocolate chip cookie, and we all know who I'm talking about, and it's staring at me, and I'm like, we're making eye contact, and the next thing you know, we're holding hands. I'm gonna eat that joker, because it's like it's that, you know, if you run into the best, then have the best. But don't waste it on like the Keebler. I mean, nothing against the Keebler elves. I'm sure they're amazing people, but don't waste it on that, guys. That's been in a box or a bag for years, and it's just full of chemicals. And so have that thing. But then after I eat that one chocolate chip cookie, guess what? It's back to business. It's back to
yeah,
taking care of myself, back to honoring myself, right? And I think something you said is really awesome is like you get the freedom to make the decision in the moment, right? And so when you're looking at mac and cheese, you're like, I could easily shovel a couple of those spoonfuls in my mouth. Nobody will know. What's the big deal? Who cares? I'm hungry. I did this all day. We can justify things over and over and over and over again in our brains, but you get the freedom. Like you get the freedom of choice. And then based on that freedom of choice, you get to decide your outcome. And that's the
yeah,
beauty of life, right? That's the beauty of what we teach here is like there's no deprivation. And if you would have had those two spoonfuls of mac and cheese, who cares? Right? It's
sure.
the next best decision after that that gets you back to where it is that you're supposed to go. I want to transition a little bit because as you guys are listening to this, today is Monday, March the 29th. Today at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'm starting a free training in the Wellness Lab Launchpad, which is kind of our intro group to get you kind of introduced to me, the way I coach, the way I teach, the way our group kind of works. And then the Thrive Forever Fit program is our paid coaching group where you get deeper access to me and just a deeper dive into your goals and what it is you're trying to do. But in the free group, all week long, I'm doing a free training on the concept of the overweight mind. For those of you guys that don't know, I wrote a book 4 years ago called The Overweight Mind. It's the undeniable truth behind why you're not losing weight. And the reason I want to bring this up, well, twofold. I want you guys to be over there and take that free training. Ashley read this book, and you've said a couple of times, like this book made an epiphanal change in your life. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, I didn't know Jay Nixon before that book. You know,
Whoa, hey, what do you
I
mean? I'm
didn't.
just
I'm
kidding.
sorry.
Of course you didn't know me. How the hell would you know me?
No, I just had this like kind of yearning that I wanted to work on the mental side of stuff. I think I don't want to like throw this diet under the bus, but I was doing a keto diet where you drink exogenous ketones. So those are my two tips. But I felt like I was just running the same race. And so I had started wanting to think more about the mental side of weight loss, health, and fitness. So I found you on a good old Audible search and like read reviews. I downloaded it right away, totally listened to the whole thing immediately. found your podcast, binged on your podcast, found you on Facebook. I'm like a detective. I'm going after it.
Yeah.
Get on Wellness Lab Launchpad. And I think I messaged Marissa like 2 days later. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, what's the next step? You know, I was
Yeah.
like, it blew my brains. Like it was so life-changing. Like it just brought clarity to everything that I've ever done wrong
Right.
in my journey of health and fitness. And I was like, this guy has it nailed down. And it so many things that I could think about and digest, but it's like it was like drinking from a water hose, and I just needed more. And so that's how I got introduced to you. And I can't even count how many times I've recommended that book.
That's so, you know, as an author, that means the world to me. You just want to hope you impact one person's life. And so the fact that this book, I can't even believe it's been 4 years. Like when we were preparing this training for this week, I was like, oh, it was like 2 years ago. And somebody was like, bro, it was like 4 years ago. I'm like, what? Like, so it's so crazy to me that this has been out there for so long. And just the amount of impact that I've received back from people like you who've read it has been just astronomical. And that's why we're doing this training this week, is because this was 4 years ago and the principles are still foundationally strong, still so true. But obviously in 4 years, like I've learned a lot more about my clients, right? About the psychology behind why it is they do what they do. And that's the number one reason I wrote the book, is like I was having weight loss success with clients. I mean, people were losing weight. Like, I mean, we're jamming. This is awesome, but it wasn't sticking. And something just kept coming to me. So I wrote this book 4 years ago. I decided to write it 2 years before that. I got the concept, I got the idea 6 years ago. I bought the URL, I bought everything, The Overweight Mind, whatever, because I knew that was the title, but I wasn't ready to release the book. So that was 6 years ago. And then I would say it took me about maybe 6 months to write the book once I just made the decision to go, because I kept coming up with these new ideas and I'm like, what is going on? And I didn't want the book to have anything to do with, you know, eat this, don't eat that. Like, you know, this is the perfect exercise, blah, blah, because I believe all that is it's archaic. In the book, and I'm actually going to talk about this in the training tonight, I say in the first chapter that I believe that it's 80% psychology and 20% mechanics being the diet, the workout. After 4 years, I got to be honest with you, I wish I would have said 90-10.
I was going to say, you're probably going to amend that tonight. Yeah, 90-10 for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to amend that tonight publicly. I'm doing it on a podcast right now. But yeah, guys, it's so psychological. The neuropsychological reasons why we do what we do are so much more powerful than eat this, don't eat that. Like, I mean, you're uber intelligent, you're uber successful, smart. Like you said, you research. I mean, you've got data, right? You've had enough data. Salad versus donut.
Yeah.
Right? That's silliness. You work out like a champion, like you work out like a warrior. Like that's never been an issue for you. So this is what I want you guys to hear. It's like what has shifted in Ashley is the psychological piece of that. And it continues to evolve, right? You're still going and growing, which is amazing.
Yeah. Every day. And I think I frustrate people sometimes when they ask me what I'm doing. You know, people are like, you look amazing. And what are you doing? I'm like, I'm working on the mindset, the mental side of things. And people are like,
because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to them for 2 reasons. That's not what they've been taught. That's not how they've been programmed. And it's not that sexy, right? Like when you really, I mean, at first it sounds cool. You're like, oh, I'm going to work on my mindset. And then guess what? When you start working on your mindset and it's like, oh shit, like this is dirty. Like, you know, sometimes it's heavy, sometimes it's awesome, sometimes it's challenging, sometimes it's like it's celebrate. You know, it's such it's almost I don't want to use the word bipolar, but it's like a bipolar process where it's not linear, it's not hard, but it's also not easy. Like it's such a weird thing because you kind of have to like let it unfold, because we've stacked so many belief systems on top of each other. Some made up, complete bullshit. Others have some facts to them, but you know, they shouldn't be as heavy as we make them. And we carry around a whole bunch of stuff that, holy shit, when we just start to let that go and just think differently. And I start the book out by just talking about the way you speak. People are like, what do you mean the way I speak? And if you'll pause people a lot of times, like if you recorded somebody that you know and you played it back to them, you'd be like, oh shit, like I am kind of negative. Like
Yeah.
I do say some shit that I shouldn't be saying. So
Yeah.
how is that process? Because I think you're getting better and better and better about that as well. Like you're doing the work around the easy stuff, but the hard stuff. If you think about how long you've been programmed to speak the way you speak,
Oh, yeah.
and then for a joker like me to come in and be like, "Hey, don't talk like that anymore," you're like,
Oh, well,
"What do you
that's
mean?"
I was ushered into working with you one-on-one by you calling me out publicly in a
Yeah,
group, where we were having a training. You called me out, and we got out of the training, and I messaged you. I'm like, all right, like,
yeah,
and you're right, it is layers. So like I think of like, right at the beginning, the reframing, changing how you talk and all that stuff. Like it feels like it's a million years ago, but I still use it every single day. And then I think of like my layers have been like wallpaper. Like you take off one layer and you can tell they like smoked and it's real gritty and awful. And you take off another layer and you can tell a gal lived there with good perfume. It's just,
yeah,
it's a lot, and it's a lot of work. That's why I think of wallpaper, because I have to get up at least an hour, if not an hour and a half, more than my 5 kids, or I won't get the work in. And if I don't get the work in, my whole day feels off kilter.
yeah.
So it's a lot of work, but
And
I
that's
love it.
unique though. You know what I mean? So for you, that's important, right? Like the
Yeah.
hour to hour and a half. We've got
Hmm.
people in the program that it's a 5 to 10 minute process. So it's don't think that we had somebody the other day, they're like, oh well, I can't do that because I can't devote my whole life to the program. I'm like, Jesus, devote your whole life. Like, I'm like, no, this is about adding an element to your life that makes it better, that makes it more abundant,
Yeah.
that makes it, and that's why we talk about everything inside the program. It's not just eat this, don't eat that, food, whatever. It's like, it's your work, it's your family, it's your
Mhm.
faith, it's your like, how are you thinking about everything collectively? So when somebody says, well, I don't have time, right? If you've got 5 minutes, you've got time. If you've got
For
an
sure.
hour, you've got time, because it's all incremental and it's all about building the processes and the layers on top of each other that you need for your particular layer of growth. You said this, and I want to clarify this, because I think this is what makes me a little bit different than most coaches. Is I never tell people what they want to hear just because they want to hear it, right? I'm brutally honest, but I'm also empathetic and understanding. And so when you say call me out, I don't want people to think that don't know us, right? That I'm some kind of raging lunatic.
Yeah.
I show up at your house, I kick the door down, I start throwing shit in a trash bag. You know what I mean? I ridicule the family and then I go home. Right? That's
I've said,
not
I've
what Ashley's talking about.
I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. Like, I have a very strong personality, and I can count on one hand the people that'll call me on my shit. And you call me on my shit like no one else does, but I needed it, and
Yeah.
I found out I kind of wanted it,
Yeah.
So, I've realized that getting kind of a big change of thinking, just like by calling me out on something, I needed that, and it made me more open, even moving forward, and
Yeah.
it's just kind of completely changed who I am. But no, you're not a savage. You are very, very empathetic, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well,
I
I
don't
think,
have a lot of super empathetic men in my life that I'm close to, so like
yeah.
I really appreciate that about you. You're a soft place if I need it. Blah blah blah. I'm
Well, I
just
think
kidding.
you have to be, right? Like you can't just
Yeah,
be like, in order for me to help you guys and to help you guys get to that next layer of where you want to go, like it's sometimes tough love is necessary. Sometimes I'm gonna be like, listen, like I want to believe that for you, but it's just not true. And this is why it's not
yeah.
true. And this is what we need to do differently about it. And we get to such an amazing, better place of, where it is that you have to get to on your journey. So
And I would
I
say
think
too,
it's, I
Jay,
think,
that oh,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Well,
No, shit.
as many times as you've called me out, 5 more times you've asked me to give myself grace.
Absolutely.
So that's even more so, I think, an important thing for me, because I tend to be like super hard on myself, and I'll come to you with something like really personal and hard, and you'll be like, what's the big deal? Like chill out, give yourself grace. Not in those
Yeah.
words, you're way better at words, but so both of those from you have been really important.
Well, and I think that that's an important piece of the puzzle, right? And so if you're listening, even if you don't have a coach, right, you don't have somebody that you go to, or a mentor or whatever it is, a lot of times, guys, like that's the answer, is give yourself that space that you need to process. but not too much space, right? Like you can't give yourself a month. You can't give yourself a year. It's got to be, it's got to be something like, hey, I'm going to give myself another 30 minutes. If it's a big thing, maybe you need a day, right? Today's Monday. I'm going to give myself Monday. And then as Tuesday comes around, I'm going to go back to doing the things I know are going to get me to the place that I really, really, really want to be. And that's the beautiful thing about like having someone in your life that you can reach out to, is because like, listen, I think grace and space are beautiful, but I also think there's a time for, hey, you know what? We've had plenty of space, plenty of grace, and now it's time to get you back to that next level. And I think you as the warrior that you are, you want that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is awesome. Dude, I'm so proud of you, man. I feel like we've turned the corner. And we've turned the corner a couple of times before, but I feel like this is a big turn.
Yeah,
I feel
this
like
is a big turn.
I feel like there's a shift in energy. Like I feel
So excited.
That is so cool. That is so cool. Listen, I'm going to say this. I don't give a shit about the 60 pounds, right? I care less. That was I never cared about that. What I cared about is what happened and what we got to today, of you realizing like that you don't care about it. That what you care about is the consistency to keep being your most awesome self. And that is guys, that's the win. I think we get so caught up in this world that we live in this like, the social media highlight reel, right? And it's all BS for lack of a better term. But what we get to with a process like this of like, who gives a shit about the number? And you're just progressing your life in a better place. And what's going to happen is this trickles over, right? Like this mindset or epiphany or whatever you want to call it, like this trickles over everywhere. Right?
Oh,
your
it already has.
Your freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It already has. I mean, just a couple of quick examples. It was beautiful here yesterday, and I took my oldest and youngest with me while I walked the dogs, and they were running. And my oldest came to me, and my daughter was like having better endurance than he was. So he was talking about how he's not fast. It was like 3 or 4 negative things in a row, which is even past my capacity. I was giving him like child grace, but I just had to stop him. And I was like, Declan, you are your words. Like, let's talk about a different way we can reframe that. And we did. And I had him say some mantras and all that stuff. But so that was amazing and different than I've ever done. And just even choosing, like, I had already worked out yesterday. I'd already been up really early, and it was nice. And we went out for 2 hours, it's just trickled everywhere. Like it's everywhere. Awesome. It's so awesome. Yeah.
And I think that is so cool and so key is like, guys, don't keep this to yourself. Like, don't keep awesomeness to yourself. Like what Ashley did is like, that's going to transition and trickle down to all of her kids. And the next time he starts to say something like that, I guarantee his little brain's going to go, wait a minute. And he's going to say something more powerful, more positive. He's going to reframe that. It may take Ashley intervening more than she did yesterday. And it's going to, for sure. Because even as adults, like I had a coaching call with a lady last week who was, she's read every book there is to know about neuropsychology and whatever. Like everything. And she kept using language. She's like, well, I failed at that. I failed at that. And she said it like 3 or 4 times. And so regardless of how much you know, sometimes you still need to be triggered. And one of the things I said to her is like, the only thing I want you to do, I want you to do 2 things. I want you to not do anything, right? Because she was consuming way too much volume and not doing anything with it. So I just want you to pause and like give yourself some space to not do anything, not make any big decisions. But most importantly, I need you to stop using that language about yourself. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, and I wrote down every time she said it. She said the word failure like 4 times. And I was like, you've used the word failure 4 times, right? So you haven't failed because you haven't given up. You're just having challenges, and all the challenges in an unanswered question. So let's answer some of those questions that you don't have the answers to, and let's stop using that negative language, because that's more detrimental than you not getting the thing that you want to get, because it trickles into all facets of your life. Huge.
So true. Yeah.
Huge. Any parting words, man? I'm so proud of you. This is ridiculous. I feel like I'm super pumped. Like I'm excited. I know you're going to be, listen guys, this is what growth is about. Ashley's in my private group. We do one-on-one coaching. We've been working together for a year plus now. She's going to watch the free training in the Wellness Lab Launchpad. I guarantee you.
Oh, I'm super excited. It's at a difficult time for me here with the time change. It's like
I record them. I
No, I
recorded.
know,
Yeah.
but I already have it in my calendar for tonight. I'm going to walk and I'm going to listen to it and then probably listen to it later and take notes.
Yeah.
No, I'm so excited. I want everyone to get on and listen to it.
And see, that's the cool thing. So that's that's what growth looks like. I mean, she doesn't have to, she can ask me any question she wants, right? She can literally, I mean, message me, we do this, we're coaching calls, whatever. That's how cool this training is going to be and how awesome it's going to be. There's going to be awesome people like Ashley are going to be partaking in it. And so she's going to be there. If you want to ask her a question, she'll answer your freaking question. That's how cool this group is. So if you're not a part of the Wellness Lab Launchpad, I would highly encourage you to get over there. It's 100% free, 100% no strings attached. You can quietly hang out and not say a word, or you can get active and ask questions and be involved and be part of the process in the program. And then when you're ready, if you feel like you desire a deeper level of coaching, we've got another level of that called the Thrive Forever Fit program. And we'll give you information about that. But there's no pressure. There's just pure awesomeness there. So I'm excited about tonight too.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Awesome. Dude, I'm so proud of you, man. Just keep crushing
Thank
it.
you.
All right,
Oh, I
man.
will.
All right. We'll see you in a bit.
Yeah.
Peace.